Okay, and game three. Again, this is Chris, MTGO's Rec Start, with a little bonus coverage here this week. Yes, I am recording. And we have Chamale going for the Old Fogey Deck Building Challenge against AJ post-tournament, trying to make up for the fact that his win over AJ during the tournament was a forfeit because AJ was stuck in traffic. So if Chamale can get it here, he will be awarded the prize for having 2 match wins. All right, Chamale on the play, able to Ice Storm there. Didn't have an accelerant, but it's still a pretty good tempo play here. And AJ, that's not good. He's got a discard. Another land destruction spell probably is going to spell game over here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, Chamale doesn't have any pressure on, and as someone who used to play land destruction back in the 90s, I can tell you that people do draw out of it sometimes if you don't put a quick clock on them. And if all Chamale's got is a Bird Maiden, then that's not going to do so much. Now, if he's got a Rocket Care Ridges, that is a significantly larger clock. Okay, it's Bird Maiden, so AJ's got a few turns to try to draw out of this. Now, Chamale will draw more land destruction, but it's likely that I think just some number of Stone Rain, Ice Storm, and Kudzu is his is what he's got. Now, of course, AJ, now that we've seen that Song of the Damned, has an alternative path to victory here, as opposed to exposing his lands. He doesn't really have to build his mana base. If he's got Song of the Damned, he can just pocket a swamp and discard these guys every turn, since this Bird Maiden is going to take forever to kill him. And he might be able to simply drop a swamp, Song of the Damned, and fire that off for the living end in a single turn. While Clockwork Avian will speed up the clock, let's see, that'll be 5 points of damage next turn, putting him to 14. 4 the following turn puts him to 10. 3 the subsequent turn puts him to 7. Maybe he recharges the Avian. I don't know, he's still got at least a few turns here. AJ alluding to the fact that, yes, indeed, he might be hedging one for a combo explosion, as he says, which was my guess, is that that's what he's playing. But of course, maybe he's genuinely out of lands and just trying to make Chamale think that. They weren't quite stupid enough in Alpha to make a Thoughtseize for lands. No, they didn't do that. They did make a Thoughtseize for non-basic lands in, I think, Urza's Saga. I've never seen it actually played, but I've seen it on Gatherer. Alright, Avian loses a point of power. Technically, it loses a +1/+0 counter because, yeah, counters didn't make that much sense back in the day. A lot of odd ones. Now it's pretty much just +1 and -1. Oh, now they're discussing Word of Command. Yeah, that's takes control of an instant. Has the problem that your opponent sometimes just casts the instant in response. I'm not really sure how that card was meant to work. And because it was not in revised, it was only in unlimited. Not a lot of people owned one, so I have never actually seen that spell cast either. It's nice to see Ice Storm. Don't see that one a lot. Ice Storm used to be a pretty expensive uncommon. It's actually about the same price now as it was in the mid-90s, even though it's not really seen any play except in like casual land destruction decks. But that's been enough to support that $15, $20 price tag on it. Well, let's see. Does Chamale have a land destruction spell? Okay, Dirty's going to check on something for me there. Alright, so the Baronmore got Kudsued. And we've now got 3 points of power coming in from Chamale. Put AJ to 7. How many guys are in the yard? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there's no land destruction spell, Baronmore's Songs of the Damned gets him 4, and he can Living Death. That leaves a 4/4 flying Rook, however, but the Primarch could block it. Oh, are we gonna? No, okay, we're not gonna see a land destruction spell here. 4 mana is being tapped. Be a Rock of Care Ridges, perhaps. Oh, he's gonna Earthquake. Okay. So that puts AJ down to 4 and leaves that bird. Well, now, of course, if AJ does have Living Death, he can get rid of that bird, but he's going to need, to stay alive here, I think he's going to need Songs of the Damned and Living Death in his hand. Yeah, Earthquake and Rook Egg was something we used to do back in the day, too. Rook Egg was a common in Arabian Nights. It was not all that difficult to acquire. It was reprinted as a rare for some reason, it looks like, in 9th edition. Showtime. AJ says it's showtime. Let's see if he's got it. Okay. Alright, well, he's tapping them both. Now, does he have Fluctuator? Okay. Now he's going to need to cycle into a untapped swamp in order to go off. Because his cycling lands will not do it, because they all enter the battlefield tapped. Alright, so we've got a couple of beasts and an expunge being cycled. A couple rapid decays. Barkhide Mauler. And rapid decay. Now, I say AJ just needs to get to at this point, needs a swamp that will enter the battlefield untapped. He's got that. Now, does he have Song of the Damned? He does. Does he have a Living End, or does he need to keep cycling to find it? A Living Death, I should say. Oh, there he goes. He's got it. Alright. So, the Rook Egg comes back from Chamale's graveyard. And AJ's got an army. AJ does have to make sure that at this moment he has enough to Alpha Strike for the win, but not with Hasters. He'd have to do it next turn. He can swing with these 3 and block the 4/4 flying bird with his Primarch Escapee next turn. He's also got 2 mana left in case there's anything else. Now AJ's at 4. He's got to be careful. He's also got to watch possibility of Chamale having an Earthquake for 4 to finish the game next turn. So let's see. 12 is going to come in. Rook Egg will block 1. That'll put Chamale at 8. Give him a 4/4 flyer. And so Chamale has 4 points that he can swing in with, but it would be blocked by the Primarch Escapee at the moment. So I think Chamale is going to have an Earthquake for the win. Otherwise, up. And it looks like he does. So AJ's really impressive turn there. All going to be all for naught. With Earthquake going to finish it off. So that means that Chamale does not, in fact, get the second match win necessary for the prize, if I understand our discussion before this little exhibition correctly. So somebody will have to clear that up in the article, but I think that that's correct, that the prize will still be available for next week. But I'll mention something in the article just to clarify for sure. So in the meantime, interesting looking deck from AJ, and Chamale's deck, I think, had a... oh, sorry, Chamale did win that game because of the Earth. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. So Chamale is going to take the prize. I don't know what... I've been... not enough sleep last night, guys. Chamale's going to take the prize, gets the old fogey accomplishment, and... congrats to him. The next one will be announced in this upcoming week, but you will not be able to do it this week because it is not an underdog legal tribe that you have to play to win the challenge. But I'll give you all of those details in this week's article. Thanks for joining me, guys.